and welcome to another edition of Delta Media Group's Tech Tuesday. Pitter patter, let's get at her. So today we are going to take a look at managing a purchased domain, and this would be a domain that you've purchased through the DeltaNET. We have other videos that go into the specifics of, first off, how you can take a domain that you purchased through a third party like GoDaddy or I don't know, Google Domains. There are plenty of domain registrars out there. So we have other videos that walk you through how you can take those domains that you've purchased elsewhere and connect them to your website in the DeltaNET. We also have other videos that cover the specifics of how you do set up an account and purchase a domain through the DeltaNET. So what we'll look at in this one is if we just kind of wanted to put a shorter video together that specifically looks at managing those purchased domains and also how to transfer those domains if you ever did want to transfer them to another registrar. So here we are on the home page of the DeltaNET, or the Agent Home dashboard rather. Now to get to the domain settings page, we're just going to go up here to our quick actions bar and type in domain settings, and you can see an option comes up here for domain settings. Now I could also click on the gear over here and that would take me to the settings page, and I could search for my domain settings page that way. But however you choose to get here is just fine, as long as this is where you land, or this is where you end up. So these are all the domains that I have configured and attached to this particular account. These consist of domains that were originally purchased or registered outside of the DeltaNET, as well as ones that have been purchased within the DeltaNET. This one, for example, is a domain that was purchased within the DeltaNET. Now to manage any of these purchased domains, we're going to go down here to the bottom where it says Purchase/Manage Domains, and you would have clicked on the same button to originally set up your account and do the initial purchase of the domain. But now when we click on it, in addition to giving us the ability to search for domains, we also can see all the domains we've purchased in the past. Now to manage these domains, you can see we have a Manage Domains button here. And then also, if you did not purchase the privacy protection, and what this does is when you register a domain, all of your contact information, so your name, email address, phone number, that's all associated with the domain. So anybody can do a whois lookup for that domain, and they will find all of your contact information. If you want to avoid that, you can add privacy to the domain, and then it will basically mask that information. So when anyone does a lookup like that, instead of showing your contact information, it will just say information private or something like that. Now, if you didn't add it initially when you purchased the domain, but you do want to add it after the fact, we do have this button here. You just click Add Privacy, and you can see it gives you the price on it. That's actually a yearly price on it. It'll just be tacked onto the renewal fee. And just click Purchase Now, and then that would purchase your domain privacy. So we'll go back to our domain settings page here, and go back down to the bottom, Purchase and Manage Domains. There we go. Now normally I wouldn't have to follow through quite the same steps because I would actually purchase once I landed on that purchase page, but this time I did not. So the next thing we can do with the domains we've purchased through the DeltaNET is we can click on Manage Domain and Edit Contacts Data. Now this is particularly relevant when it comes to transferring a domain because a domain becomes locked when you change the registrant information. So we have a note right here: if you change the registrant organization name or registrant first or last name, you voluntarily agree to a 60-day domain lock. So what that means is if I do change any information under this registrant tab, this domain will not be possible to transfer this domain for the next 60 days. To another registrar, that is, though the domain will still function normally, or the way it has been, rather. But you'll notice that there are different kinds of tabs up here for different kinds of contact information associated with the domain. So the idea here is under registrant, if this information was incorrect and you did still want to transfer the domain, you do need to have a good email address attached to this domain because that is where your authorization code will be sent to actually complete the transfer. So instead of changing it under registrant, you'll go under here under administrative and change it here, because you can change this information without it locking the domain. So make sure if you do want to transfer a domain, the first thing you'll want to do is go to this page, make sure your contact information is correct, and then if you do have to change anything, make sure you're changing it under this administrative tab. Now once you've changed it, hit Update Contacts, and that'll update all the contact information there. So we're going to cancel because I don't need to change anything. And then when you'd like to transfer the domain, you just click on Manage Domains, Lock it / Unlock Domain, and you can see the domain lock right now is currently turned on. You would just click this toggle and click Done. That turns off the domain lock, and the system will then send an email to the administrative contact for the domain with an authorization code in it. So how that code is used is different depending on the registry or registrar that you are transferring to. But just taking GoDaddy for an example, normally you would go there and they have a pretty clear path as to how you go about transferring a domain to them. And what you'll do is search for the domain. They'll have you enter that authorization code, and that basically proves that you own the domain, and therefore you can transfer it to your account there through them as a registrar, and use them as a registrar for that domain going forward. So what that means is that if you ever, whenever you renew the domain, whenever you pay for it, anything that you add to it, that would all then be managed, and who or what name servers are used for that domain. So basically, who controls the domain would all then be controlled through your GoDaddy account instead of through the DeltaNET. So that is how you do transfer a domain. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to send an email to support@deltagroup.com or give us a call, and we can walk you through any of your domain settings or anything else you need. Thanks a lot.